The ship is immobilized, sir. Vega's men are ready to blow down the sinkhole.
And the Tacitus?
There's no sign of the object which you described, sir.
The Tacitus is the source, Slavic. Its Tiberian secrets can make or break empires. Find it.
Locate that Tacitus soldier, or I will bury your team in that hole.
Yes, sir. Hang on, sir. There's movement here.
Cabal, replay.
Detail. Frame forward. Cycle.
Freeze. Extrapolate for missing data. Mutants.
Cabal. How do we find her?
Probability suggests she will return to the GDI medical colony near Provo, or enter the Underground Railroad here, near New Detroit. The decision is yours, Commander Slavic. You must reach the medical colony in the region without being prematurely detected by GDI and forcing a base evacuation. To prevent this, consider first destroying the 3 sensor towers protecting the base. Our new artillery unit should be sufficient for the job, even in your hands. Once inside the base, the capture of the mutant female should be simple. The mutant female may be trying to reach the underground railway system located in New Detroit. Move in and control the station before she arrives. If she boards the train, you must stop it immediately. This may be our last chance of capturing the abomination.
Welcome back, Commander.
Unit reporting, sir. Sir?
Today's mission gives us the glory of the Nod arsenal, the artillery piece.
Unit reporting. Moving on my way.
It's impossible to miss accuracy, makes it, well, overpowered to say the least.
Building.
Sir?
It actually took me a little bit to figure out which mission I wanted to play between those two.
Options.
Looking at the premium official strategy guide, and for those of you following, page 159, you'll notice that there is a mission structure for the Nod campaign. And one of them being, if we select this mission, it's supposed to take us, or at least according to the graphic, allow us to go to the other selection on the map. Sadly, I don't think that'll ever be possible. There's just something that either the graphic isn't right, or how to progress, I did something wrong. Although I don't think that's the case. Anyways, at some point, I'm sure I will look into the actual level design when we get to the maps. I'll make sure to take a look at what the progression is for that. Now, for this level, it's unique in the sense that we have to work around some mobile sensor arrays. And to be perfectly honest, they're a little annoying to have to deal with. There's a sort of artificial range that they have.
Input directive. Waiting order.
And one would assume that if an MSA, as the game shortens, or as the guides and whatnot shorten the abbreviation to, I was just playing with the music here, you would think that if they're getting shot that they would maybe react in a fashion close to, you know, alerting a base, but I guess for gameplay purposes you couldn't, it wouldn't really make for an exciting level. Now, all this said and done, there is two ways for this level to screw you, the player, over. The first being, obviously, if you happen to wander in to one of the MSA's areas that it covers. The guide has a okay way of pointing out where those points are, but as long as your artillery's units can get in position and shoot at least once, you're pretty much good. You never really have to go past that point. If you happen to alert the enemy base to your presence, then they end up calling train, and then the train is supposed to evacuate Umagon. And let's just say you are on an incredibly small timer for that. Basically, if you ever triggered the GDI base's response, restart. Or at least hope that you have a save somewhere.
Cannot deploy here.
Because, well, the first time I played this, I didn't have a save, and that was about 10 minutes of progress that was lost.
Ready. Processing your command.
It's not super frustrating, mostly because Command & Conquer seems to be, at least in Tiberian Sun so far, there hasn't been too many examples of levels that are excessively long. I might take a long time to play them, but I attribute that, at least in part, due to the fact that I'm playing on hard, so it's a little tougher, or you should expect it to be tougher, of course. But a lot of these, especially the Nod campaign we've seen, you can kind of blaze right through it and not really have to worry about too much.
Construction complete. New construction options.
And while we're here, speaking of all the different Nod campaigns and the campaign missions that we've been going through rather quickly,
Unit ready.
I should point out, since I think it's been a while, all the different units that we're now seeing.
Construction complete.
We've got the artillery piece, of course, but I don't think I've talked upon the attack cycle, which is one of the fastest units in the game. Very light, but it's an anti-vehicle
Unit ready. Waiting orders.
vehicle.
Construction complete.
Now, for the attack cycle, it gets 2 upgrades, which is, well, at least designated in the guide, which it's pretty nice for them to get. They're rather cheap and don't have much of a health pool, so you kind of need to get whatever you can. Another issue, though, is that attack cycles, because of their fragility, you're not going to get too much use out of them if you just throw them around anywhere.
Construction complete. Building.
So, for the attack cycle, its first upgrade allows it to shoot at air units, which is really good. And the second upgrade allows it to be immune to Tiberium veins, which kind of makes it one of the, basically the ultimate scout vehicle, because you don't have to worry about going around anywhere. The only aspect that is detrimental towards recon is just the fact that it can't fly over anything. And secondly, we have the artillery piece. And the artillery piece, at least in the guide, only gets 1 upgrade. And I'm going to double check to make sure it is the only one.
Waiting orders. Moving out. Sir?
Yeah. So, artillery gets 1 upgrade. And that upgrade is, once it gets to full veterancy status, it's allowed to self-heal. Now, I'll be 100% honest, I don't think I've ever gotten an artillery piece that high in terms of experience. They're good at damaging units, sure. Killing units, maybe not so much. And the only reason I say that is not as a sort of detriment or not admitting the power of the artillery. It's more the fact that when you have artillery, especially in the original or the base level, base game of Tiberian Sun, you're gonna build a lot of them. You won't generally just have 2 or 3 and build experience through them. So you end up just splitting that experience to all your different units. And so getting any to actually level up is tough, or tougher.
Construction complete. Building.
Now, unless there's something I've somehow missed in all the rules files as to change their behavior, artillery, if they do get to their max veterancy, should only get self-heal if below 50%, like with, say, the Mammoth Tank, the Mammoth 2, Harvesters, and so on. The AI gets kind of good at targeting higher experience units too, so keep that in mind at the harder difficulties.
Unit ready.
Once more extolling the virtues of artillery. They're not altogether too extensive. I don't think we can actually build any in this mission, which is strange, but I don't know. I don't know what else to say really about that sort of limitation. We've seen time and time again, the shots can never miss. This obviously developed a sort of problem against when playing against or with Nod on a multiplayer level, because they're kind of just inherently better than most things the GDI can come up with. And sure, while you do have things such as Wolverines and being able to rush your opponents, and even stuff like the ion cannon or jump jet infantry, so on. It's just
construction complete.
None of it seems to have that same sort of value that artillery provides.
Waiting orders, sir. On my way. Input directive.
I mean, when 2 of them can take out a Wolverine in one go, and again, they never miss,
Unit ready.
you kind of have to figure how much of a distance you have to go into a Nod's territory, or Nod player's territory, before they just get destroyed, really.
Unit ready. Input directive.
So that's the second portion to this entire thing.
On my way.
The first being that if you're not careful, you'll just activate this train,
On my way.
and because you won't be paying attention to it, because why would you really, you absolutely will miss the train that comes right above your base.
Awaiting orders.
I mean, I'll be honest, I never even really thought about it. I just happened to have, the first time around anyways, I just happened to have a couple units try to break the bridge. I don't think you're allowed to.
Unit lost.
For whatever reason.
Orders received.
Obviously, it kind of like breaks the mission. But next time around, I said to myself that I'd rather not have to redo the mission a third or fourth time.
Unit
And
lost.
so laser turrets do a fine job at preventing the train from passing through. It's also important to note that the only reason why I triggered anything was literally just because I did some damage to the base itself. So your primary goal should always be to destroy the MSAs, and then get a couple units to come in through this southern side and
Awaiting orders.
prevent Umagon's departure.
Yes, sir. Unit ready.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Sir. Ready.
I should also point out that
Reporting.
While I know it's silly to nitpick at this point, it did always feel odd to me as a kid that there are two train tracks and they both lead off the map in the same direction, and yet never connect.
Building.
Because that's the entire point of Umagon right now not getting back on the train in order to escape.
Waiting orders. Unit ready. Sir? Sir?
Unit ready.
Input directive. Processing. Unit reporting. Unit reporting. Input directive. Sir? Unit ready, sir. Unit ready. Unit yes, sir. Yeah.
Insufficient funds.
Waiting orders.
Unit ready.
Sir? Unit ready. Unit reporting. Unit reporting.
Also, yeah, this is kind of why I don't like tick tanks.
Unit ready. Sir?
I know the thread has talked at length about them, but
Mission accomplished.
it's just so annoying. I also don't know, or at least I don't recall what triggered that, so enjoy.